Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 75th MTAF podcast, More Than a Fan podcast. We are here with a bunch of esteemed colleagues and guests. I'm going to introduce them to you all. We got Aaron McGee, at Aaron M59 on Twitter. Say what's up, Aaron.
Hello.
He looks very nice this evening, doesn't he? We then have Sig Flanagan, otherwise known as WTF Brown Sig on Twitter. I think this is his first time doing a podcast. Is that true?
That is correct.
All right. Are you excited? Are you
Long
excited?
time listener, first time contributor.
There you go. We then have Dan Zaleski, at Common Man DZ, otherwise known as DZ.
Hello.
He was dressing up as Obi-Wan Kenobi before we went live. That was pretty exciting. We then have Jeff Rich, who's actually making an appearance in Northeast Ohio this evening. He's usually in Phoenix, Arizona, or in Arizona. I shouldn't say Phoenix, or should I? Are you in Phoenix?
Yeah, it's accurate.
Okay. Well, he's at JRichTCF on Twitter. He's done a lot of college football stuff for us at More Than a Fan. And, of course, you all know this guy, Damian Bowman. Say hello.
Hello.
So today, as you can see from the title that I posted on the tweet and the actual post on the site, today we're talking football. It's going to be all about football. I know the Indians lost today, so I didn't want to go into a depressing topic. So I just want to talk about Browns and NFL, and we're going to do a little college football action too. So as you all know, this past week on Thursday night, the Browns got a 24-6 victory against the Detroit Lions in the Great Lakes Classic. I still don't understand why they make a trophy for a preseason game, but I'm not going to complain about it too much. But the bottom line is they looked good. I mean, for the first couple of quarters, they were, very crisp, very sharp. And I just wanted to get some thoughts from you guys on how the Browns looked on last Thursday. I mean, let's go with Damian first. Damian, I know you divorced the Browns, so did you pay any attention to the game whatsoever?
Well, Hayden, as you know, I've not paid a single moment to the Browns, but I did hear they had a great week and they looked very well. So I am starting to get a little bit excited, and I know Dan is very happy about that.
Wow.
How can you get excited when you don't pay any attention? How does that work?
I'm excited because I'm hearing good things every week about them.
Oh, come on.
Why are you so angry, man?
Dan is not happy right now.
No,
He's
I
never
just
happy.
It's silly. But, we covered that all down. We covered that down before, so I'm not going to bring it up again. I just don't understand the process of divorcing a pro sports team. It's like my mind just explodes when I try and process that concept.
I need a good product, Dan.
Dan, it's because you're not from Miami.
I am not from Miami. That's true.
That's the point I make. Did anybody else watch the game? I mean, did anybody think anything specific? I mean, I just want to get overall thoughts before we dive into specifics.
Brandon Whedon looks great.
Jeff, I saw your mouth moving.
Sorry.
Yeah, I like the way he's working with the tight ends. It's a lot of what Chudzinski was doing in 2007, and even further back, going back to Miami with Winslow and back when Eric Winston played tight end. I think that I didn't have a lot of confidence in Cameron going in to really carry the load as Brandon Whedon's go-to guy as the dump-off replacing Watson. But it looks like he can fulfill that role, especially because he can go up and get the ball. And if Whedon puts it high, it's where it can't get picked off. But if Cameron can go up and get it, then Whedon doesn't have to put it right between the numbers on every play.
Well, that's perfect because I wanted to talk about Brandon Whedon, and that's kind of the thing on everybody's minds right now. Is this guy the future? Is he going to be the guy for the next couple of years down the road? And thus far, he looks like he's made a lot of improvement. He's made a lot of good throws in the preseason thus far. I mean, in the game against the Lions, he was 8 for 12. 117 yards and 2 touchdown passes, and many NFL writers have called him the preseason MVP. So I'm going to ask you, Sig, because you haven't chimed in yet. Do you think that the preseason MVP is a title that we should put stock into, or we should just kind of dismiss?
No, I think you got to put stock into it. I mean, look, last year he didn't whatsoever. Round peg, square hole. So it just didn't work. North putting in an offense that he's going to, attack on the field, 3 and 5 step drops, and he's accurate. That's the big thing this year. He looks a lot more comfortable, a lot more poised in the pocket than he did at any point last year. Preseason week 17 doesn't matter.
Hey Sid, do you think the running game's going to complement him better than it was in Shermer Ball, and do you think that's going to you think that's a big factor in making the difference between this year and last year?
Absolutely, I think One, I think Richardson. I don't think we ever saw a healthy Trent Richardson at any point last year. The offensive line, another year of gelling, that's going to be stronger. And again, it's going to take that pressure off. If you look at his success in these games, a lot of it's been off play action. When they don't have the play action, granted they're going against base defense, but it's working.
So I just want to say quickly, because you did mention the offensive line, we've had 2 injuries on the line already with Laval, who had, I think, surgery, and Jason Pinkston was injured in the game. So do you think these guys are going to, do you think that their loss is going to affect this running game too much? Let's go to you, Dan. What are your thoughts on the whole offensive line problems?
Well, yeah, I don't think it's going to help. You lose 2 starters off of the line that was already, not the greatest run blocking. They're great pass blockers. They're not the best run blocking line in the history of the NFL anyway. You lose 2 starters off of that, and you're going to have a problem. But, I want to go back actually for a second to Weeden. I think this whole talk, everybody's so concerned with whether or not he's the guy and whether or not 2 years from now he's going to be the quarterback. I think that's unfair to try to judge him like that right now because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. I think you look at what he's done in the preseason so far. Hey, it's been good. Thumbs up. A+. But until we see him in the regular season, it's really hard to kind of fit him into a neat little box and say, oh, well, he went for 350 yards in this game, so he's going to be the quarterback of the future. We don't know. We have no idea. And everything looks good, and obviously the worst coach in NFL history is gone. That's a plus. And that's exciting. But as far as the offensive line goes, yeah, it's going to be a tremendous problem because we need to get that running game going to open up the passing game for Weeden, and right now that's going to be very difficult since we're going to be signing offensive linemen off the street apparently.
Well, we do have John Greco, who signed the big extension this offseason. I don't know if he's going to play, if he's going to fill in one of those spots. I don't know if he was even starting, but hopefully, that's an issue.
Chud mentioned, I think it was yesterday or today, that they're looking at signing a guard. So, they're going to have to at this point. And it's going to be difficult, especially because they're going to come in late to camp and they're going to try and get going. So the faster these guys can get back, like Laval, the better off we're going to be. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
How much can we expect from Gilkey to fill in? Because I had Greco penciled in on the right side. I looked at it as Pinkston was coming back, and Laval was going to be a reserve. Very similar to the O'Neal Cousins, Artis Hicks dilemma that that it seems like we've been having since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is true.
It's tough. It's tough because I don't think Laval is ever going to be a good run blocker. I watched him play 3 years at Arizona State. And, he has an excellent pass block. He's a typical Pac-10 offensive lineman. And we see it. We're seeing it with Jonathan Martin and David DeCastro, who looked all world at Stanford, and now they're in the NFL and they're struggling to make it in year 1 and year 2.
Yeah, I think the entire Browns offensive line has an issue with the run block. I think they're great pass blockers, and I think that's why maybe, you'd have Pat Shurmur throwing Brandon Weeden 40 times a game because when it comes to the run, you would watch Trent Richardson fight for yards constantly. He always had somebody in his face, even when we had everybody healthy. So I think that's been an issue. I think that's something that they're probably going to address in the coming drafts, but we're kind of stuck with what we got for right now.
Well, what do we make of the bench behind Richardson right now with Lewis out? I don't think that he was I don't think that he was quite James Davis. You know, I think James Davis was a flash in the pan preseason player.
Yeah.
I think the touches that Lewis was getting in the preseason, he looked like a good change of pace back. I don't like the Darren Sproles comparisons because Sproles is a completely different player, but I think that they're really going to miss Dion Lewis as a change of pace back, and it's I don't know what the answer is behind Richardson right now, quite frankly.
Dion Lewis was phenomenal. I mean, that fan favorite running for yards. Yeah, I mean that was a tough blow, and now you got. But you know what? I like Brandon Jackson personally. I've liked him since he got here, and I think it's great that he's going to get an opportunity to excel and see what he can do.
Yeah, that first year he was out with that. I was excited for him when he first came in, but then he missed that whole year. I don't remember what injury. Did he have an ACL?
Yeah, it was some kind of knee or whatever it was, but. So he missed the whole year, but and then last year it was just kind of a DNP, coach's situation. So I'm glad the guy's going to be able to show his stuff. I can't wait.
Right. Well, yeah, Dion Lewis is another injury that bit the Browns. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. I don't know. He did have surgery, so on that broken leg. So that's that's a disappointment. But at the same time, there's so many positive parts of this preseason that I want to get to. And then the next one is Jordan Cameron. I mean, we touched on him earlier, but this year he's been kind of poised to have a breakout season, according to some of the national pundits and NFL guys. On Thursday, he had 3 receptions for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is this a sign of things to come for this guy, or is this just a preseason, benefiting from the vanilla coverage or whatnot?
I think he's the next guy in a long line of basketball, of power forwards turned tight ends. With Gonzalez and Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham down in New Orleans. It doesn't always work. I think the Jets brought in J. Nathan Bullock from Cleveland State, and he didn't make it out of training camp. But I think that Cameron, with a real coaching staff, has a real chance to evolve in this offense.
Aaron, I want to hear from you because we haven't heard from you in a while.
What do you want to hear about Jordan Cameron?
Jordan Cameron, yeah.
I mean, his breakout season was supposed to be last year too. So, I'll believe it when I see it in the regular season. I've heard that for the last 2 years. So,
well, I
think I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold that he's going to be the next, Tony Gonzalez or, of that ilk. But we'll see. I mean, he has a potential. He's a big athletic freak. I mean, we'll see. I'd like the offense he's playing in. Down the field passing, it works great for him. But
it's one thing to make a couple diving catches in a preseason game, and we've seen this before. I feel it just like Aaron. He went like in the 3rd round of the fantasy draft I just got back from. I about fell over in my chair. So we'll see. If he's successful, then more power to him. I hope he goes on to be an All-Pro. But
right. I mean, I just picture him being a decent tight end. He'll have 4 or 5 touchdowns this year. But good.
Let me ask you this: do you think he can replace what Benjamin Watson brought to the table?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was my thing that I was gonna kind of harp on. I think last season, he's learned a lot from Watson, who was a very knowledgeable pro, a veteran guy who was well revered in that locker room. I think that it definitely benefited him. Is there any doubt that he can replicate the performance of Watson over the last few years and kind of be that guy, that knowledgeable, hardworking tight end like Watson was?
Right. I think so. I mean, I don't I'm not down on him or anything. I'm not high on him like some other people seem to be. I mean, I think he'll be a nice fit there, but I don't think he's going to be a top 10 tight end in the league either. So,
yeah, I don't know what I am on him. I mean, he's okay. Like Aaron said, I hope he's good, and I'm not saying he's not going to be. I don't think we can go celebrating because he had a couple good catches in a preseason game and a couple touchdowns. Yeah, let's see what he does week 1, week 2, week 3, and then make an assessment. It's hard in preseason because he's playing against used car salesmen. I mean, it's really just hard to tell what he's got, So
what's wrong with used car salesmen?
Hey, I'll just be happy when people stop confusing him with Cameron Jordan.
Yeah, there you go.
This is true. Well, I mean, the other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I thought it was really impressive in this preseason game, was the defense. I mean, we've heard all summer about Matt Stafford signing his huge extension, and Calvin Johnson and Nate Burleson and their whole offense, and Reggie Bush and all of their offensive weapons. But the Browns seemed to, pretty well hold them back. I was expecting Stafford to go off because, this defensive backfield is very
Stafford's
young, to say the
horrible.
least, and I was expecting, maybe Joe Hayden would cover Calvin Johnson or something like that, and he wouldn't get the touches, but everybody else would. I mean, what were your thoughts on the defensive backfield playing against Stafford? Did you guys watch that at all, or were you kind of just focused on the offense?
I'll answer that. Stafford is not a very good quarterback, so it didn't show me a lot about the defensive backfield.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. He's not a very good quarterback. They didn't have Calvin Johnson, and my overall thought in watching the Lions play on Thursday was they were sleepwalking through the entire game. So they looked about as unmotivated to be there as any team that I've ever seen. So hey, it's great the Browns won. They should have won by 18 points. I mean, that's the kind of effort Detroit put up. So
before we go, I just want to touch on that for a second. We can touch just after somebody else talks about the defense, but I just want to say that's something that I've noticed too, is that the Browns look much more ready to go and much crisper and much more on the ball than any team that we've seen thus far. Is that a indictment on the way that Chud runs his program, or is that a good thing to look at, to see in this preseason?
I think that's awesome. I like the fact that they're business when they come out on the field, and I don't care if it's a preseason, whatever. I mean, that's the way you should come out, ready to compete, ready to play football, because ultimately the games don't count, but they still matter. I mean, it matters your performance. It matters, to the guys trying to make the team. I mean, you got to show up regardless.
yeah.
And to agree with Aaron's point, I don't think Horton's doing. Horton's not scheming. He's just getting these guys ready to play, and they're not going to be without Phil Taylor for a majority of the season like they were last year. And I think that if we've seen anything from the defense in these games, it's that Phil Taylor is a difference maker.
Yeah, Sig's back in, so I wanted to get him in for a second. Did you see anything on the defense, or did you like the fact that they've been crisp thus far in the preseason?
They've been very crisp. I mean, that's the biggest thing, that the adjustment from Shermer. Again, yeah, you can say it's just preseason, but they've looked more prepared, more fluid, more ready to play in preseason than they did at any point under Shermer. You can even argue back to Romeo. They never had an identity or looked to know what they wanted to accomplish and get done. Since the return, this is the first team that's come out, in my opinion, and said, this is the style of football we're going to play, and they take care of it. They do it on the field. It's refreshing.
Dan, did I cut you off before I went to Sig?
No, I was just going to say that, I don't know that – I mean, I agree with Aaron to a point that I like the fact they're coming out with energy, and I think that's great. However, I don't know that expending all that energy in the preseason and playing this hard and people getting hurt is necessarily a great thing either. So they're definitely ready to play, and obviously when you watch the game against the Lions, they were more ready to play than Detroit. But at the same time, 16 games is 16 games, and you're trying to conserve energy over a long period of time. I wouldn't be depressed if they dialed it back a little bit in game 3 and 4 and try to get some guys some rest and get them ready for the season rather than going balls to the wall for the preseason game.
I want to see how they
Go ahead.
I want to see how they play against Andrew Luck. I think that's I think that's a better test for the defense than playing against Sam Bradford and the Rams and Matthew Stafford, who I think we all agree is not a great quarterback in this league.
Hayden does not agree with that. He loves
I do not.
Stafford.
I do like Stafford. But
Discuss why. Why? I agree.
Do you want me to discuss?
Yes.
Well, I think that Stafford benefits from Calvin Johnson, obviously, and I think that but I do think that at the same time he doesn't benefit from his coaching staff. I don't think he's ever had a great group around him, and I think that I don't know. I just always liked his confidence. I always thought he would just go and throw it no matter the situation. That's what I want to see from a quarterback. I mean, I don't want to see a guy that's timid. I don't want to see a guy that's, not willing to make the throws that you need to make. And I thought that Stafford was always that guy. Whether he made them or not, yeah, okay. I don't think he's an elite quarterback, and that's why, because he didn't always make the throws, but at least he had the confidence to do so, and he hit them every now and again. So I'm a big Stafford guy, but at the same time, he does have Calvin Johnson that elevates him, and that's Calvin Johnson got him that extension. That's I don't think he's elite. I just think he's a decent quarterback in the NFL.
I think it's the investment that they've already put forth for Stafford. You know, he was one of the last big money guys before the CBA changed. So, you know, they're kind of pot committed with Stafford right now, and you know, they got to sell it. They got to sell tickets, and they got to sell it to their fans.
I like that exactly, and that's my point too. That I like the fact that they're sticking with a guy. They're not going to change just because he hasn't been amazing. I like the fact that I just like the fact they're buying into him and the fans are buying into him, and you know that it's. I mean, it might actually, in actuality, it might not be a huge deal, but it could, you know, secure his confidence and make him, you know, work that much harder in the future. You never know. But that's my thoughts on Stafford. But I did think he looked pretty awful against us. I was not impressed at all.
And hey guys, let's not forget when we're talking about the preseason, since we're talking about the Lions, the year that they went 0-16, they were 4-0 in the preseason.
Yep.
So if there's ever anything that you need to look at and say preseason's no indication, it was that year.
Yeah, you have to take preseason with a grain of salt. I agree.
Well, first situation, new coach coming in, so I mean we won't find out for a few more weeks, but you know they're saying and doing all the right things right now. But let's see what happens when team planning for us, team planning for them.
Right, and I'm going to agree with Sig that if the Browns look great in all 4 preseason games and they're crisp, sharp, whatever, and they come out and lay a dud with them against the Miami Dolphins, it all means nothing. It all means nothing.
Amen.
And they've won one opener since the return. I think that's you know, getting off on the right foot is absolutely important.
But at the same time, I think the season you're talking about is when Jeff Garcia beat the Ravens. I think that was the first opener they won. And,
it's the only opener they won.
Yeah, the only opener they won, and they still had a bad year that year. So, I mean, who knows if a preseason or a season opener is as important as
Well,
it is around the league.
If you remember back to that season, that was the year that Butch had his panic attack and Trubisky had to take over, and everything just fell apart.
Right, and then Garcia was injured. Yeah, I understand, but just moving on. You say this about the preseason, but what do you want to see in the next couple games? I know Dan wants to see them dial back and just kind of lay low and
I want to see him
rest.
stop getting injured.
Right, exactly. You want to stop, but then again, there are some people that want to see him, fight up until that regular season game and just go. I mean, load up and go. So I want to hear your thoughts on. What you want to see against the Colts and what you want to see in the final preseason game of the preseason.
I think we've seen enough. I mean, I kind of agree with Dan. Even though what I said, I like that they're prepared. I like that they're ready to go. But I mean, it makes a great point. You really don't want to go in there with, more injuries than you already have. Your Deion Lewis, who was kind of going to be your change of pace backs, injured. The line problems, whatever. Mingo with the the bruised lung. I mean, you want to get those guys in healthy for their opener because ultimately, I mean, Sig said too, you go 4-0 in the preseason. I mean, regular season's all that matters. So as far as fan perception and things like that and the reality of it, if they don't win that home opener after going 4-0, nobody's going to remember or talk about the preseason anymore.
I feel there's a preamble necessary that I have to acknowledge. I always acknowledge that it's preseason, but the Lions went 4-0 when they went 0-16. But on the flip side of that spectrum, Patriots went 4-0 when they went 16-0.
Right.
2 years ago, after the Lions were a joke for ages, there was a game on CBS. It was nationally televised against the Patriots, and they went up there and they just put it to them. You put part of that on Belichick. Thinking like Sig, like Sig that you take it you take it with a grain of salt. But there's certain things that teams like the Browns and like those Lions had to do. You have to make a statement. You have to keep your foot on the gas. I'm not saying play everybody 4 quarters. I'm not even saying play everybody in week 4 of the preseason. But I am saying that there's some relevance to what's going on the field that we can see. I don't like the preseason. As a matter of fact, I'd abolish it if I were commissioner for a day. But what we see, there's something to it. There's something to be taken at face value with all of that.
Look, I have a couple thoughts on preseason. The first is I think there are general themes that can be taken from preseason without being very specific. case in point, the 2008 preseason when the Browns, coming off a 10-7 season, went to New York to play the Giants in the preseason and just got dismantled. If you remember that, and that was kind of a harbinger for what was to come that year. So that was a theme that you could take from that game, as the Browns weren't even in the same ballpark as the Giants. But the second thing is, so you can take themes, but the second thing is, I'm really tired of people saying, every time something good happens in the preseason, saying, "Oh, it's just preseason, it doesn't matter." People are like afraid of rooting for a team because it's the preseason and good things happen. We all agree that you can't take a lot from preseason other than, like I said, some underlying themes. But at the same time, it's okay to cheer for your team in preseason when they do well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's not like some internet code of conduct that says, "Oh, it's preseason, hold off, don't cheer now, come on." I mean, it's stupid. So, I guess I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's really been bugging me while I watched the Browns preseason game against the Lions. You have all the Twitter police who are like, "Oh, well, yeah, that looks good, but it's just preseason." And shut up. I mean, seriously.
Shut up, man. Just shut up.
Drives me nuts.
I need you fired up more, man. Come on.
Are you fired up, Aaron?
No.
Not at all?
Not really.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask again, how, in regards to that question, if you're Rob Chudzinski, how long do you play the starters in Week 3, and how long do you play the starters in Week 4?
1 minute, 27 seconds.
How do they divvy that up? Or
even in Week 3?
Game?
Yeah, Week 3, Week 4. They're dropping like flies, man. Get these people out of there. They're ready to go. We didn't need 4 preseason games. We've had 2. Good enough. Let's go. Let's do it.
But don't you think the middle 2 preseason games are more important than the first and the last?
No, I don't think any of them are important. I think in football you need 1 rehearsal game.
But that's Week 3. That's always Week 3. That's the game that.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you only need 1 game. You need 1. We don't need 4. We only need 1. We've already had that. We've actually had 2.
I think that the people who play football and coach football will probably disagree with you that you can get everybody on the same page in 1 game.
I played football. I don't disagree with myself.
I don't think you played NFL football.
No, but it's not a whole lot different. Learn plays, run plays. I mean,
seventh grade backup guard doesn't count there, Daniel.
Oh, come on. No, I was a senior starter, brother. Come on now.
All right.
All right, Hayden. Move us along here.
Move us along. I wanted to get back to Aaron's glory days of high school football, but I guess we're not
no one
going
else
to there
does.
tonight.
No.
We can talk about them all you want.
No.
Tell us about the guy you sacked how many times in a game, or 2 times, or whatever.
I'm too busy drinking his beer right now.
Yeah,
Well,
that in fact is.
To move on, I wanted to, we harped on this a little bit with the Dion Lewis and the Jason Pinkston. Guys seem to be getting injured a lot more than they have in the past, and maybe it's just we're noticing more, or maybe that it's actually happening. Guys are dropping like flies, whether it's the Browns, the Broncos, whoever it is, guys are dropping like flies. And
Oh no.
sorry,
All right.
Well, it's not just happening with the Browns. It's Dustin Keller's out for the season. That's a bonus for the Browns in Week 1 here.
Right. And I think actually to go back to Dan's point about having too many preseason games, I mean that's obviously the side effect is that some people are going to get injured, right?
Yeah, if you have too many preseason games, people are going to get injured. But now you also have that stupid CBA they signed where they're only allowed to practice like once every other Thursday with pads on. And if they, it's stupid. They took away 2 a day. They took away the conditioning part of training camp. So
what do you think is more important? Do you think the conditioning is more important than the actual
yes,
preseason games?
Absolutely, 100%. The conditioning is more important.
So would you
Absolutely.
rather have more 2-a-days and fewer preseason games?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd rather have 2 a days and 1 preseason game and a scrimmage in the middle of training camp. That's what I think you need. That'd be perfect.
I agree.
And I think we can all say that all came out of the CBA from last year. I mean, that's what the senior players wanted was no 2-a-days, right? And then more preseason so they could have easier weeks during the season, correct?
Right, and it's not paying off. And in fact, I think when the next contract comes up, the players are going to want to reverse their stance because they're going to miss so much time and get hurt and lose jobs because they're not in shape.
Hey Dan, do you think that more players are going down on August 8th than September 8th? I mean, the game of football is the same. I understand there's conditioning parameters and whatnot, but I mean, we're not going to hold anyone out of week 1 unless I mean, we're looking at Mingo. We don't know, but Pinkston's a big mystery at this point. So, I'm wondering if it's just happening because if they play one game or if they play 4 games, if we're going to lose a guy in week one of the preseason, are we going to lose him, after that scrimmage? I mean, Tom, of course, it was all over ESPN because ESPN loves to fillet Tom Brady, but he gets hurt.
Loves to what?
What'd you say?
I think that we MTAF is PG-13 here, so
I mean, I didn't hear what you said. I don't care what
You
you
said
say.
fillet.
Okay,
I said
that's
fillet.
all right. I'm Catholic, but I can figure out what that means. My Catholic school brother, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I went to Catholic school.
I went to Catholic school too
Oh, did you?
for a while.
Nice.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
These guys are going. These guys are going down in inter-squad scrimmages. So
Right. Well, but I think some of that's conditioning.
And I agree. We don't need 4 preseason games. We don't need four preseason games, especially at full price, which is a different issue altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of this. I think inter-squad scrimmage or whatever, it's conditioning. I mean, if you remember how practice used to be. From day 1 of training camp, they had 2-a-days, and they were running. That's the whole reason they put a hill out in the training complex, is so they could run them until they puke. And they're not doing that anymore. They come out, they have a light, brisk workout, and they go and sit in meetings for 6 hours. The whole conditioning aspect of training camp is gone. They do the bare minimum that they have to do, and I think, that's what you're seeing. That's why guys were pulling hamstrings and tearing hamstrings and Achilles tendons, and because that's limbering up. That's being in shape. That's getting your muscles acclimated to working that hard over the course of an NFL season. I think you're really going to see it start to come to a head here as we move into mid-season, week 6, week 7, week 8. These guys are going to get tired. They're going to get broken down, and a lot of the stars of the NFL are going to be sitting on the sidelines.
Do you think there's a level of complacency with doing camp in Berea instead of doing it off-site like they used to at Lakeland? Because I can remember growing up, going out and seeing Felix Wright and Bernie Kosar out at Lakeland, and they'd have that annual scrimmage with the Bills. They still played 4 preseason games, but it seems like there's a different level. When you go away for camp, there's something to it where that you're there for camp. Whereas you go to Berea and that's where you're going to be going for the next 5 months.
It's like band camp.
You make a good point. I know Jacksonville still does it the old way. They got a little practice stadium right outside of the main stadium. They don't have any big complex like the Browns have it. Yeah, maybe, but I mean, I don't know. I think
the Cowboys go to California. The Cowboys go to Oxnard, California, and they get completely away from their element. I think that it's treated more as a business trip and as a training camp rather than just practices in August before we start playing games that count.
Yeah, you might be onto something there. I mean, maybe that is the case. Berea's pretty nice, and they just.
I've never been, to be honest.
Berea's not that nice.
Well, it's all right, man. Come on. I mean, as far as practice facilities go, it's not bad. You go out there.
The facility's nice. I'm just saying Berea itself isn't that nice.
What, the city of Berea? I'm not going to, I guess.
Yeah. But where could they, I mean, realistically, where could they go? I mean, I know Jeff said they used to go to Lakeland, but I mean, are there other alternatives that are?
Well, you go to Byers Field if you wanted to. I mean,
but you're still in Berea.
I'm talking
Byers
about
Field
even farther away than that. Yeah, in 2002, and I hate to jump around to college, but in 2002, before the season, one of the players, one of Tressel's players' family had a farm, and they went out there and they did team building. They did team building, and they got along, and and they went 14-0 after that. I'm not saying that's a cause and effect scenario directly, but there's something to getting away, and I don't want to harp on it too much because it's just kind of a tangent, but I think that there's something to Berea with the staff and everything, with the STAPH staff that just there's just a stigma to it. I don't mind that that they built a state-of-the-art facility and that they practice out there, and that's Browns HQ, but I'd like them to do a legitimate training camp.
Yeah, I'd be for that. I see your point on that, and I'm not going to tell you that I think it's wrong. I think it's probably a pretty good take.
Oberlin. I mean, just to throw something out there, they can go to Oberlin College. It's far
No, I
enough
mean,
away.
they go to Kentucky. I mean, like the Cowboys do, get all the way away from it, you know.
Right. I mean, they could go to Columbus.
Yes.
They could go to
Yeah, they
Otterbein.
could.
They could go to Westerville. I mean, seriously.
lit-
I mean,
you
they
just
could
made
they
Hayden
could go to
say it.
Ohio State. I mean,
They could go,
seriously,
they could go to Belleville.
there's nothing there.
We have
You
a
go
high
to
school football
Belleville,
field.
Maybe they could go to Put-in-Bay.
I don't know
Put-in
about
Bay
that.
on
Josh
the island.
Gordon's
Yeah,
on the
they
roster,
go out.
right?
All right, Jeff, how about we go to Put-in-Bay?
Sounds good, man.
We can bring the
Put-in Bay big enough
Commodore,
for a
visit
football
the.
field?
We go to the Commodore, visit the memorial.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy that there, Damien. I
Thanks,
left
Aaron.
it for
Appreciate
you. I left you 5, didn't I?
A few.
He probably left more than that.
There were
Am I-
12 to begin with, so
Am I back, by the way?
You're on.
Okay.
we hear
Wow.
your beautiful voice.
Well, I was just trying to catch up on the conversation because I know you guys. I was frozen for a little bit, but I wanted to offer my opinion on the whole thing. From my experiences, I know that you were discrediting high school football, whatever. But from my experiences, what we did with my high school, we went off and we did our own thing, and we were way away from everybody. We weren't allowed to have phones. We weren't allowed to have computers, and it built us together. And I think there's merit to that idea of just getting away. I don't know where to get away to. I'm not saying to go to Ohio State, to go to Otterbein, wherever, but maybe that's a good idea to just get away and kind of focus on the team instead of focusing on the team for a couple hours here and there and then going home and being with your wife and whatever. I mean, I know it's important to have your kids and your family, and that's the most important thing overall. But I'm saying, without the
I agree with Hayden's point as he got cut off.
That's fine. I don't- Every week, Hayden,
He's frozen.
every week I
There
say,
it is.
Hayden, I want you to run this thing, and I want you to take control and be the man here. And he has like the worst internet. It's like he's on dial-up. Does anybody remember like the modems when it goes to do 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 do?
Are you on the space station or something?
What's that?
Are you on the space station, Hayden? I mean, I'm running DSL. My wife's streaming a high-definition movie in the other room, and I'm still coming through here. That's
I'm in a-
DSL. What are you using?
I'm using a router.
Are you plugged in?
But what's your connection? Dial-up, cable, DSL? What do you want?
I think it's cable.
Are you plugged in?
Can't be. It's impossible.
No, I don't know. I just moved into this house. I don't know.
Are you plugged in?
No, I'm not plugged in.
That's why.
Well, I don't know where to plug in at.
Into the router.
I just moved into this house, man. I'm
Plug
so
into the
confused.
router.
All right, next week. Next
Hey,
week
I'm
I'll
on,
plug
I'm
in.
on wireless DSL with a high-definition movie stream in the other room. So something's wrong with your connection, brother.
I'll get
All
it fixed next week. I promise.
Moving along.
Moving along. I guess. I guess that's a good enough break because I want to head into college football. I know a lot of us are big college football fans, and today the AP poll came out, and I don't mean to pat my own back, but I was pretty excited. I was pretty excited to see who was number 2 on that list. But I just wanted to kind of break down, the Big Ten teams in the AP top 25. We'll go from there, different conferences.
There's only 2 teams that matter in the
Wait,
country.
whoa. Hang on. Sig, what are you pouring? Uh-oh, Sig's muted. Did you mute yourself?
Keep muting me.
There you go. Sig,
There you
what'd you say? I still don't know what he's saying. This is more important than... hang on, I'm looking upside down. Wait, hold the bottle up to the microphone. If I can't hear you, at least hold the bottle up. Oh, now he's tricking me. All right, Hayden, I guess he
think
doesn't...
Stig's on the space station.
Schlitz?
No,
Splats?
go back.
Killbats?
Live from Mars.
Yeah. All right, Hayden, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Roll Tide, you said, right?
Yeah, I said Roll Tide. Well, no, I just wanted to, I wanted to just get into a few conferences, and I know that Jeff's a big Pac-12 guy, and I wanted to get into them, but
Pac-12 expert Jeff Rich.
he really is. It's been awesome to have him aboard.
That's what I just said.
You said take away with that.
Yeah, you said it with a sarcastic tone, though. But anyway, just to break down some of the conferences in their AP top 25 slots. The Big Ten, Ohio State's number 2, Michigan is number 17, Nebraska 18, Northwestern 22, and Wisconsin 23. Let's do a mini Big Ten preview here. Are those standings going to stand, or is there going to be some shakeup in those Big Ten rankings?
Well, Michigan will finish well out of the top 25, so I mean, Northwestern's a better team. Michigan will probably be about 5th in the Big Ten. Other than that, I have no issues.
Why is Michigan going to be 5th?
Because they're going to lose to Notre Dame in, week 3?
Week 3, yeah.
So, any other thoughts? I mean, is that it? That Michigan's
Well, it's going to be interesting with Wisconsin because Gary Anderson's a hell of a football coach. He's taken over Alvarez, Bielema. I didn't know who was driving the bus in Wisconsin, mid-December last year,
Right.
And has Alvarez had his hand in the cookie jar the whole time?
Yes.
Is Anderson going to have autonomy of the program?
No.
Are they going to find, are they going to be able to find another free agent quarterback this year?
No.
A lot of questions. I mean, not to be a homer for Phoenix by any stretch of the imagination, but they're going to come out to Tempe in week 3, and unless Anderson's better than anyone wants to give him credit for, I think they're going to lose to the Sun Devils on September 14th.
Wow. So you're saying that when Ohio State plays Wisconsin might not be ranked?
I think that there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that they can beat up, and is it going to be at night?
Yeah, it's a night game.
It's a night game, 8 o'clock.
They'll find a way to put them in the top 25.
That's true. Damian, I know you've been itching to get into the conversation because you're not a big Browns guy. So, any thoughts on the Big Ten?
No, none, because it's a terrible conference. But I did want to ask Jeff about. Oh, Jeff, don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes.
It is a terrible conference.
What's that?
It's top heavy, but it's a terrible conference.
Yeah, top heavy. If they're like 1, 2, and who else?
That's it.
Right.
That's what top heavy is.
Okay. So I want to ask you how good Oregon's actually going to be.
Big wild card is Helfrich.
Right.
Chip Kelly, everyone you talk to, including his starting quarterback from a year ago, Mariota or Mariota, depending on who you ask. Marcus, looked to the sideline and he trusted Chip Kelly. I don't know if that's there. I think going from Bellotti to Kelly was a different scenario. He's still got Anthony Thomas in the backfield. So they're going to run the same game. Depends on how Helfrich runs his practices. He designed that offense, so I'd assume he's part of the conditioning program.
Right.
And it took them 5 or 6 years, with Bellotti and working with Kelly to get their interior linemen to the point where they can play in that hurry up offense.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I actually think that they're actually going to be pretty good with Helfrich. I mean, I think he's obviously because he designed the system. I just don't know. Last week I mentioned Pac-12 suicide, and I just don't know at what point that they're going to actually commit it.
Did you explain Pac-12 suicide?
I understand
Pac-12
suicide. I understand it's USC going up to Oregon State on a Thursday night and getting you quizzed.
Right.
I don't know.
Say that again, please.
They got you quizzed.
Thank you.
And I don't know that Oregon's susceptible to that. That was more of a Pete Carroll thing, if I'm being honest.
Really, I just feel like I feel like Oregon, I just feel like every time that they're riding high, and then like you said on a Thursday or a random Saturday afternoon, they just show up and then they go and then they shit themselves.
Well, if you go through the I think Josh is the one that wants to keep it PG-13 here. But
I said,
if you go
That
through the
is
whole
PG-13 though.
if you go through the whole that's true. If you go through the whole Chip Kelly era, they lose that ugly opener with the LeGarrette Blount incident. At Boise State. They drop one to Stanford in the regular season that year. They lose the Rose Bowl to Ohio State. The next year they go undefeated. A year ago they drop one. They drop one at home to. Well, they lost to Stanford last year.
right.
And Stanford was very close to losing a lot of games. Stanford almost lost to Arizona at home.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with all this, but I think Oregon's talent is just too much. I think those Thursday night games, it doesn't matter where it doesn't matter if it's Pac-12. The 2007, the Big East just cannibalized each other with those Thursday night games. The road, the favored road team dropped every one of those games. So it's just tough. I don't see. I put Stanford number one. I don't see them losing the game, and I think that they can play with Alabama.
All right, here's what I want to ask you about before I give this back to Hayden. Week 1, what is the best game on the schedule?
Clemson. Clemson,
absolutely,
Georgia.
Absolutely. And who wins that game?
That's a tough one. It's at the Georgia Dome, correct?
Is that neutral site or is that at Clemson? I think that's at Clemson.
It's in Death Valley.
Got it.
I think that's at Clemson.
I trust Dabo Swinney. I think they pull that game out. I don't think it does anything to debunk the SEC myth unless Clemson goes and loses 3 or 4 games. But and both teams have good quarterbacks. Both teams have good returning defenses. They're well coached. I'm just gonna play it simple. I'm gonna go with Boyd over Murray.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. I just don't see a way that Georgia's gonna go in there and just win it.
I think that LSU TCU game is going to be
interesting for a quarter and a half.
I think Patterson's going to be ready, have his team ready to play. I think that's going to be a closer game than.
No, I actually think Texas Christian has a chance at that game.
Right.
I mean, if I were going to make a bet, I would take TCU.
Yeah, I don't like the bulletin board material that Patterson's given them with with the situation with Hill, but. It is what it is. They still got to play 4 quarters of football, and
right.
I think TCU is a legitimate Big 12 program, and I think they're going to continue to show it, especially if Patterson stays.
And then, real quickly, the most overrated team of the year in the top 25, the AP top 25, the only poll that counts.
Give that to everybody. Give that to everybody, Dan.
All right.
Where's South Carolina?
South Carolina's got to be
8 or 9.
6.
Or 6, sorry.
Too high.
Okay.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney's great, but they're losing Lattimore. I just I see them going 8-4 this year.
All right, Hayden.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with Texas A&M without Johnny Manziel.
You think they're without him?
I still think that they lost too much on defense, and either way, I don't think
they lost
Texas
Luke
A&M.
Joeckel too.
Yeah,
they lost one of their bookends, and I think that's a big deal.
Yeah,
but Hayden, let me ask you this: do you think Manziel's going to play this year? Yes or no?
No, I don't think he'll play. But
what?
no, actually, I'm going to disagree with myself. He's going to play because it's the SEC, and they'll find a way to let him play. So I still think they're going to be overrated, though. I still put them, I think, like number 22 in my poll. So yeah, I think Texas A&M is going to be vastly overrated.
Does anyone know if Cole Stewart signed with the Twins or if he's going to go to A&M? Especially given the current landscape.
I actually don't know, but why don't I ask Dan who the most overrated player is while I look that up?
Our team.
It's Johnny Manziel. 10 times and 100. It's Johnny Manziel.
Team, but yeah.
Okay, the team he plays for.
Sorry. No, that was my fault.
Overrated team in the history of college football. No, look, I'll be honest. College football this year comes down to 2 teams. It's Ohio State because of the easy schedule they have to get to the national championship game, and it's Alabama because they're Alabama. If those 2 teams don't meet in the national championship game, something went wrong because that's how the system's set up this year. Urban Meyer has more talent on his team than the rest of the Big Ten combined, and again, it's an easy path, which is why I think they're going to get there. I don't know how good Alabama is yet, but they're the defending national champs, so you give them the benefit of the doubt. Outside of them, I have a hard time getting excited for Wisconsin or USC or Oregon. There's Oregon. There's too much going on over there. You got new coach, you got new philosophy. The NCAA sniffing around. We've been down that road before. I have a hard time getting excited about any other teams, honestly, than those 2. I think they're on a collision course, and barring Northwestern, drinking some liquid courage and rising up and taking a bite out of Ohio State in the middle of the year, I don't see any way. What's that?
I said Northwestern's taking a nap right now.
They got class in the
pregame nap.
morning.
I don't see, I don't see anybody. I don't really see any other teams that matter this year. I think it's those two, and they're on a collision course, and it's going to be Herb versus, the old master, and then we're going to see what happens. Yeah.
How much scoreboard watching is Ohio State going to have to do? You think they're going to be the only two undefeated? You don't think Stanford's going to come out of the pack? I'm not fighting any battles for the Pac-12. I look at Stanford. They only have to beat Oregon once. They're going to play UCLA. They're going to play UCLA or Arizona State in the conference championship. They're going to play that game in Palo Alto. Stanford.
Jeff. I mean, I don't know if Stanford's good enough to run the table. There's enough talent in the Pac-12 to trip them up. I mean, they're not an overwhelmingly good team. They're a decent team. They're probably a good team, but are they good enough to go undefeated through the likes of USC? I don't know. I don't know that they are.
Okay. This is the last year of the BCS. Is there any way that we're going to sneak a one-loss team in over an undefeated Ohio State team?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Damien.
It depends who the one-loss team is.
No,
Okay, I agree with Damien that it does. If it's an SEC team, maybe, but other than that, no way. No way.
We've
One
had,
at a time.
You know why? Because Ohio State's starting at number 2. So if they don't lose, theoretically speaking, they're not going to drop. If Ohio State was starting at 15,
Here's the thing.
yes, maybe, but they're starting at 2. They're already in the secondary pole position. They're not going to drop if they don't lose.
All right, here's the thing. Just so we're all on the same page here, okay? The AP poll and the coaches poll, essentially, right? I mean, I know one of them figures in, but the BCS poll is the only one that counts, and that takes into account your strength of schedule. And we all know that poll doesn't come out until what, like week 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So if Ohio State's not number 2 when the first BCS poll comes out, no matter if they're undefeated or not, they theoretically could not get in.
Well, we're arguing with shadows because we have no idea.
But that's my.
I'm just saying I don't think there's any way an undefeated Ohio State team. I mean,
I'm not saying
I'm off there to look good. Michigan's going to be ranked. Nebraska, they're going to play them in the Big Ten championship games. Probably going to be ranked. Wisconsin might be ranked. I mean, there's going to be enough ranked fluff on their schedule to prop it up. Even if those teams are not deserving to be ranked, they're still going to be ranked.
And if we're calling it fluff on August 18th, how bad is it going to be if they have a game like they had with Purdue last year,
right?
Where they're at home, let's even say that they go out to Cal and they struggle like they did with them last year. And Cal was terrible last year. They're a bottom 3 team in the Pac-12 this year.
They'll be worse this year.
And that's their best non-conference. Actually, I want to say San Diego State's probably their best non-conference game this year.
Yeah, I think, and I'm with you. I think if Ohio State plays bad against Purdue and they play bad against, even if they win, right? I think that at some point, 1 or 2 voters or the computer's going to say, "You went to overtime with this team. There's no way you're the number 2 team," and not because they lost, but because of their strength of schedule.
And if you don't think that there's a Mike Bianchi or a Mark May, among the real voters because the AP's out of it, I mean, you're just not enlightened to the truth.
Right. And I think we can all agree, and you guys can all tell me I'm wrong. The coaches should not be the one in the BCS poll. It should be the media that should be in there, right? At least the media watches the games. The coaches don't even watch the games.
That's not true. That's not
the
true.
coaches don't watch the games.
They don't watch the games any more than the coaches do. That's not
Stop
true.
it.
You see only Mark May watches every game? No.
Mark May's not a voter.
Kenny Rhoda is a voter. Okay, you think Kenny Rhoda is watching?
I'm gonna say Kenny Rhoda watches more games than Urban Meyer does.
Well, but Urban Meyer.
Do you think Urban Meyer fills out his own ballot?
That's my point. At least Rhoda fills out his own ballot.
But the SID's watching games, so really it's probably a legitimate vote.
Okay, but whose name's on the ballot?
Here's the question.
Yes, Sig.
All right, we get all this ballot stuff. Here's what's going to happen. I think you're going to have 2 undefeated teams. Okay? Ohio State, and you tell me who's going to beat Louisville.
Well,
They're
Louisville
gonna
doesn't
play
get in
Ohio
because of their
State.
strength of schedule.
What's that?
Louisville doesn't get in because of their strength of schedule in their conference.
Right. So Bama sneaks ahead.
Yeah, I just can't see
So,
a scenario in which
has to win
Louisville
out.
gets in. Tell me
Hey,
I'm
it's
wrong.
possible. I mean, if Alabama loses 2 games and LSU loses 2 games. I mean, it's possible, I suppose. But
Yeah, but what if Alabama loses a game in conference and wins their conference championship? They're going.
well, then Louisville's not going to go over that Alabama team.
Right.
I mean
I mean, we
Alabama
would-
loses twice, maybe.
But we would all agree that the SEC has the greatest strength of schedule, even if it isn't the best college football conference, right?
No, I think some of that cancels each other out, though, as far as the SEC, because they're all so good. They beat each other up, and losses ping you pretty good in the BCS. So even if the loss is to a very good team, you still get pinged pretty hard for a loss. So,
Right, but as we know, losses earlier in the season are significantly less hurtful
that's
than
true.
losses at the end of the
Absolutely.
season.
yeah, that's very true. That's very
Right.
true.
So in everybody's scenario here, I mean, Ohio State could lose a game to, say, Cal, week 3, and still get to the national championship game.
They could, but it'd be hard for Ohio State because of that strength of schedule. They got to go. I think they got to go undefeated to get in. Otherwise, they will get leapfrogged by somebody.
And you think they have to blow everybody out, right?
Nah, I don't think they'll blow everybody out. I think. Honestly, I just think they have to win out. I just think they have to go. They have to go 13-0. That's what they have to do.
Aaron, jump
If they
in
can
here.
do that, they'll win.
Aaron,
What?
You've been too
Anything?
quiet.
No, I got
All
nothing.
right. Hayden, go.
Here's a question.
Okay, let's see. Who said here's a question?
Dan did.
I didn't say that.
Who's that?
Sig.
Sig?
Sig, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Alabama's schedule, first off, I'm into where Johnny Manziel's from. He's not playing this year. The talk down here is his family's already preparing for other options. Anyhow, take out Texas A&M and LSU, the rest of their schedule is not that strong.
Well-
What am I missing? Kentucky?
I think
Okay.
Florida. I think Florida's a little underrated.
Go ahead, Jeff. And then I'll
They
go.
don't have
Florida-
Florida
I
on
think-
their schedule.
I think they're
Florida's
going to play them in the SEC championship.
Here's the thing with Alabama.
if Florida makes it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the SEC and Alabama. It doesn't matter if their strength of schedule is terrible now. It only matters what their opponents are ranked when they play them, right? I mean, I think we'd all agree with that.
Well, same thing goes for Ohio State, Damian.
No, right. And I've said this before to you, Hayden.
Right.
It doesn't matter where they're ranked at the beginning of the season. It only matters where they're ranked when you play them,
Yep.
right? So if Ohio State doesn't play any ranked teams, right, and Alabama plays 5, and Alabama wins all 5 or loses 1 or whatever, then theoretically, and I'm not saying it's true, but air quotes here, theoretically, Alabama's a better team, right? Right. So, I mean, I don't know how many ranked teams Alabama's scheduled to play, ranked right now, but it only matters what those teams are ranked.
Right.
So I
I
think that,
agree.
and this is the
But that's
problem with
also why
having
I'm
the
saying that
poll.
Ohio State has enough fluff on their schedule to get through because Michigan's going to be ranked. You know, and they're probably
But
going
you
to
don't know that Michigan's going to be ranked.
Yeah, you do though. I mean, unless Michigan falls apart at the seams, they're going to be ranked. I
But
mean,
if they lose 4 games, are they going to be ranked?
4 or 5 ranked teams this year. That's
No.
what's going to happen. That's what happens every year in the Big Ten. Whether those teams deserve the ranking or not, it happens every single year. There's 4 or 5 ranked teams in the Big Ten that Ohio State stops a mud hole through, and it's going to happen again this year the same way.
Well, just before, I just wanted to make fun of Damian for a minute. If Michigan has 4 losses, Brady Hoke's going to be out of a job.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm saying, what if Michigan has 4 losses? Michigan has 4 losses, they're not going to be
They're
ranked.
not. No, they're not. I don't.
That's
think
what
they're-
I'm saying.
Right. No, I'm just poking fun because you wrote that column about how Brady Hoke should have the same, be
Job security is
yeah,
Urban
job
Meyer.
security is
Right.
right.
If he wins.
But it's right. Okay. Well, if he wins,
Right. I'm assuming he's going to lose 2 games this year.
Who,
And I think
Hoke
that's a
or
fair
Urban Meyer?
Hoke.
Michigan, yeah, maybe, but they'll be ranked with 2 losses.
Right, I understand that, but I'm saying if they lose 4 games, they won't be ranked. But if they
Right.
lose 2 games,
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
be ranked.
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Jeff, am
My
I
aunt had
crazy?
a package to beat my uncle, but I mean,
No.
I'm not crazy. Jeff.
well, Michigan's not going to have 4 losses. That is crazy.
Why is that crazy?
I think they could lose 4 games. You think Brett
Yeah,
Gardner,
I think so, too.
you're relying
There's-
on Brett Gardner?
Their schedule's tougher than Ohio State's.
No, I understand that, but the Big Ten outside of Nebraska, Michigan, and Ohio State is so bad.
Yeah, but Michigan
So
hasn't
bad.
beaten Michigan State in 7 years.
But Michigan State is not good this year.
Yeah, but Michigan State has been good in
Doesn't
5 years.
Doesn't
I
matter.
mean, Michigan State's been spry for a few years now. But
No.
this is one of their spry years.
No.
Well, is there a bet here? What do you think Michigan's record going to be? I bet Michigan finishes the season with no more than 3 losses. That includes the bowl game.
I would say no more than 3 losses.
I think 3 is a good over-under.
Right. I agree with that, but I'm saying one of those losses could be against Michigan State. But Michigan State's not a good team.
I guess. I mean, it could be against anybody, really. I'm just saying. I mean, 2 losses going into a bowl game and then a 3. That's about what I expect. My point is, though, with 2 losses going into a bowl game, they're ranked when Ohio State plays them. So will Nebraska be in the Big Ten championship game? Wisconsin might. I mean, I'm just saying. Ohio State played 5 ranked teams this year. It always happens.
Go ahead. There's another question I have. Is Nebraska? I mean, I think Nebraska would probably lose more games than Michigan. So would you see Ohio State and Michigan play twice?
Yes.
No, I think by Ohio State
I
beating
don't.
Michigan, you'll play Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't
I
see
think
a
Nebraska's
scenario.
going to be a pretty good team.
I don't see a scenario in which Ohio State and Michigan play twice, but
Elaborate, Aaron. Elaborate, please.
What do you want me to elaborate? I think they're going to be a pretty good team.
who's
I think
that?
they're going to score a lot of points, and I think they are going to have a little better defense than we think they do.
Nebraska.
Yes.
Now that being said, so you think that they're going to be the absolute winners of the other division?
Yes.
I agree with Aaron completely, by the way.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I joke around about Michigan all the time, obviously, but I don't see any reason why we should expect Michigan to win or only lose 1 game, whatever, stay undefeated. I think Michigan is an above average football team. It's going to win 9 or 10 games, but I think Nebraska is right on their level, if not better.
Who's
And
schedule's
Nebraska
easier?
doesn't have to play Ohio State, so Michigan does.
I think that's.
That
I
means
think
Nebraska's schedule is easier.
I don't think Pelini's immune to I don't know if I'm inventing the term or just piggybacking on Damien's term, but
Big Ten suicide.
I think Pelini is fully capable of Big Ten suicide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, I concur. Wholeheartedly.
So's Hokamania. So.
Yeah, but there's no expectation that he'll be.
Oh, Michigan fans have him 12-0.
Okay,
Yeah,
but, okay,
absolutely, Damien.
all right, outside of Michigan.
Hey, Aaron, refresh my memory. What game has Hoke really gone and pooed the bed in? In his time there.
What game is the Hoaxster?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying any coach is capable
I'm not.
of
I mean,
Big
the
Ten suicide or Pac-12. I mean, Jim Tressel did it some year. It happens, man. You coaches lose tough non-conference or tough or not tough conference games. It just happens.
Well,
Urban Meyer almost did it last year against Purdue.
Almost though.
Yeah,
But he
and Jim-
didn't.
Yeah, but
and
thank
Jim,
God he had a backup
Jim
quarterback
Tressel did
that
it.
bailed him out of it.
Jim Tressel did it against Purdue. That was a terrible day.
Yeah, was that
That's what I'm saying.
2009?
Hey, I think Brady. I like Brady Hoke. I've said that before.
Yeah.
I think that any coach is capable of that. I don't know why Pelini is over other guys. I mean,
The
I mean, you
Big
could
Ten
argue-
championship. I mean, Wisconsin had no business in the Rose Bowl.
yeah,
Right.
that's very fair.
I mean, it's the last game I really watched Pelini coach. I think they
Right.
played in. I think they might have played on ABC, which would appease Damien on New Year's Day. But
Easy. I just want games not on ESPN. I'm watching Fox Sports 1 right now, boys.
He was on Saturday too. I can't confirm.
Channel 50 HD. Soccer right now. It's terrible.
oh, nice.
We were watching
Soccer.
NASCAR Saturday. That was pretty terrible.
Why
We
don't
might
I
get
get
we might get some kart racing next, right, Damien?
Ugh.
Okay, not kart racing.
You're watching soccer over ESPN.
No, I'm watching Fox Sports 1 and they're showing soccer highlights.
Oh, highlights.
Premier
Okay.
League was on
Okay.
today, Hayden.
I know. I'm a big Ronaldo guy myself.
Is he even playing anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, shows you what I
Stop.
know about soccer.
Quit talking about soccer. please.
Thank you.
All right, so here, let me ask you this because I don't know where we're at on time. Hayden has the clock.
Yeah,
Let me ask you guys.
we only got a couple minutes left.
All right, so we have all the time in the world, basically, until everybody who has to work tomorrow goes to bed, which is me.
I was just
and
about
Dan
to
and-
say, I
Right, I know.
about that time.
I
I'm
know.
vacationing in wonderful Cleveland, Ohio.
All right, so Dan, you drop off whenever you got, and we'll just keep going. How about that?
Fair enough.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, and I know we're going to do our Pac-12 preview show next week, or
That was a
Pac-12 and
Pac-12
our college.
preview show. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, nobody will listen to that. Our our college football preview show next year. I want to know who is the best team in the Big 12. Jeff,
Oklahoma State.
Hayden,
Texas.
Dan,
Oklahoma State.
Sig, Texas, Aaron.
Texas.
How come nobody thinks Baylor's that good?
Because they're
I
not.
think Baylor's a sleeper team, but I gotta see who they're running out there at quarterback. I mean, Florence did do a good job taking over, after Griffin left, but I'm not that thrilled about C Strong, but I'm gonna say Baylor's gonna win the Big 12 or even go to a big bowl game.
Okay, Hayden, you have any thoughts on that?
On Baylor, I mean, Art Briles a good coach. I like their program. I can't pick a team that's a sleeper to be the
Hang
best
on.
team in the conference.
Hang on, Hayden.
Yeah.
Do you have a jersey behind you with your name on it?
No.
Swisher.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the
All right,
guy's
go
hitting
ahead.
he's hitting 242 this year.
You worship
He's all
him.
in.
He's heating up.
He's all in. All right, Hayden, I got
All right.
15 minutes for baseball. Go.
Bro.
Baseball? Man, do we really have to talk about this?
All right, see you next Sunday. What's the record?
Oh gosh, the Indians record?
The Indians' record.
I
Get the
got
schedule out. Let's
I got the schedule in front of me right
hang on.
now.
All right, I was gonna say we'll BS for a few seconds, but do you have the schedule or not?
I do.
Okay,
They're
so
still,
how many-
they're still playing?
All
Yeah.
right, how many games between now and next Sunday?
Okay, they'll win. They'll go 4-2.
Okay, hang on. You have to tell us how many games. You can't
They're-
just give
they're-
us your prediction. We don't know who they're playing or how many games.
Okay. So Monday tomorrow they play the Angels at 10:05, and then Tuesday they play the Angels, and Wednesday they play the Angels. Then they have an off day. Then they get a 3-game set against the Minnesota Twins.
So
at
they
home.
have 6 games between
6
now and
games.
Sunday.
Yep,
Okay, so you're saying 4-2,
4-2.
Jeff?
2-4.
Whoa. Okay, we'll come back to that. Sig? Sig. I can't read your lips. And you're 3-3. You're muted, by the way. Aaron, I did not mute you, Sig. I did not. It must have been Hayden. It was not me.
I didn't mute him either.
You are
I think
unmuted
It was Dan.
here.
It was Dan.
Oh, maybe it was Dan.
Somebody said
Unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Aaron,
try to unmute yourself.
3-3.
3-3. All right, so we have 2 3-3s, and I'm gonna say 2-4 too. But Jeff, I want to hear from you.
I think it's starting. It's the same problem that we had the wool pulled over our eyes for a little bit with starting pitching, but it's you can't rely on Masterson. Is Ubaldo going to throw 6 no-hit innings again this week? Casimir, if Casimir's arm's not dead, it's really really sick. I mean, is the bullpen gonna bail us out? Where do these wins come from? I understand that they got 3 with the Twins. They're at the end of a West Coast trip. Today, Swisher's error was just devastating. I know Hayden doesn't want to talk about it, but I just I'm not saying that they're collapsing. I'm saying they're an 83-win team that's that's going to have to start losing some games to fall that far. They're going to have to be that far under 500 for the next 6 weeks of the season in order to get to where they should be. And that's the thing about baseball is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and things tend to even themselves out in the end. And I definitely see it. Tom Hamilton in the 8th inning when we're down 2 was already talking about September call-ups. Like Antonetti went on this road trip because he wants to position his September call-ups for this for this stretch run that I don't think that they're going to be really in the hunt.
Aaron,
What?
do you have anything?
No. No, I don't want to talk about the Indians.
Why?
They're
baseball
disappointment to me
season.
right now.
Why
I
are
know,
they
it's
disappointing
over.
to you?
I mean, actually, they're not at all. I predicted them to be between an 81 and 85 win team. They're going to be right there.
What's over?
We
then?
talked about it ad nauseum. If it's football season,
No, it's
they
not
did what
football
they
season.
did what I kindly asked them to do every year, and that's stay competitive and entertain me until football starts.
But it's not football season.
I'm in football mode.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
The
ejecting.
name of this podcast is the All Football Podcast. So
It does say
I guess we lied a little bit, but that's all right. I don't know.
I only show prepped for football.
Right.
I went to a Pirates Diamondbacks game today.
Tell us about that.
That's my show prep. Tell us about the Diamondbacks Pirates game.
Well, tell us about the stadium.
PNC. Yeah, tell us
I'll
about PNC.
tell you about PNC.
One of the best stadiums in the country, 50 times better than Jacobs Field.
Ooh, them's fighting words.
Truth.
It's just Pittsburgh's really revitalized. It's not all over the place, but like around the stadium, the approach to the stadium, walking across Roberto Clemente Bridge, there's not a bad seat in the house. It's built. You don't have the vendors going up and down the aisles. In the middle of gameplay. The fact that the Pirates are good helps the atmosphere. I try to segregate Steeler fans from Pirate fans, and I see these guys as people that really just, if you take the Pittsburgh out of the equation, how much we hate Pittsburgh out of the equation, this is a team that just, they're like the Browns of Major League Baseball right now, and they're fighting off the common juggernaut, the Cardinals. So, I think a lot of it has to do with the team that's on the field, the product that's on the field, but it's also just, good food, very easy access all throughout the stadium, friendly employees, and it's just a well-built park, kind of interesting dimensions, good sight lines, whether your eyes on the field or you're looking at the skyline from behind home plate. So I've been to 11 current parks, and this one was top 2.
What are they?
Be with AT&T Park, if not ahead of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I actually agree with you. I think those are two of the best, if not the best, parks in baseball. So.
But I don't think Jacobs Field is as bad as you're selling it.
No. I didn't say it was bad. I'm just saying the place is 20 years old, and there's a lot of places that are better.
That's true.
That's all.
Well, I just want to, I guess I'm going to segue out of it because I think
we want you to defend Nick Swisher more there, Hayden.
No, you're not going to get it from me today.
Can you tell me what happened in the 8th inning?
I didn't watch it.
Okay, because I heard Tom Hamilton describe the hopper to short as routine gets. He said we go to the top of the 9th, and then suddenly Swisher didn't hang on to the ball, and it rolled across that soccer field that they've got for foul territory out at Oakland, and it suddenly Shaw gives up a hit, and it's 7-3, and 3 up, 3 down in the 9th, and see you in Anaheim.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him, man. I can't. I defended him through the numbers, but I don't know. I don't know how you miss a ball at first base. I don't know how that happens more than one time during the year. Okay, one time you have a mental lapse. It happens to everybody, but I don't know. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him. It might be the pressure. I think the Cleveland fans put a ton of pressure on this guy, and
I think he put it on himself.
Whoa! Pressure on who?
Swisher.
Wait, do you think the Indians put this pressure on him, or do you think he put it on himself?
Both. The fans absolutely put.
No. You don't think he put any
from
of
what
this
I
on
saw
himself?
today, from what I saw today on Twitter, fans absolutely put pressure on him today. There were death threats to him. There were, release him, DFA him, whatever. He put the pressure on himself because he's, charismatic and he kind of just is a little overconfident. But at the same time,
overconfident.
The fans have put a lot of pressure on him as well. So I would say I'd say maybe a little more. He puts pressure on himself, but I'd say there's a fair amount of pressure from the fans too.
The whole free agent thing, the whole courtship of him was put pressure on him because we built him up to, as if we won the decision, the Major League Baseball version of the decision. And I hate to go back to that, but he's not a New York Yankee anymore. And there's a certain ambiance to it, whether people outside of the Northeast want to accept it or deny it. He was part of a system in New York. He came here to be, he came to Cleveland to be a leader, and he might be a good baseball player that's just not suited for that role.
I agree with you. I think I was,
I like Nick. I had limited interaction with him this spring, but I think he's a great guy, and I think that he, I don't think he talks out of both sides of his mouth. I think that he really wants to, he wants to back his words up on the field, but at the end of the day, it's just I think it just weighs him down too much.
Yep, I'm with you.
Hey,
Something's happening, and I don't know what it is. But go ahead, Damien.
I just want to tell you that Dana thinks you're full of it for defending Swisher. It's not me, it's her.
Hey, I got a bunch of it from everybody. There are people who are not fond of Swisher because of the whole, Brohio thing, and there are people that are not fond of Swisher because of the,
I think it puts butts in the seats. I think the Brohio thing is great.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I won't be sitting in Section 117 this weekend, but it's it's really sad. And my memories are of the '90s. It's really sad to look at the attendance problems, and we've talked about it ad nauseum on Twitter, on all the blog. Every blog talks about it. So anything anything the marketing department could do, and if Swisher wants to help out, in that aspect, it's great. But the bottom line is 242 is 242.
Exactly. You're right. Damon, do you want me to take us home?
Please.
All right. Well, it's been a great podcast tonight. We kind of, ran out of steam at the end there, kind of on a depressing note with Swisher. I know that he's not living up to the hype, and he's not living up to our expectations or his own expectations, and it's disappointing. But I did have a good time talking football. I know these guys did too. Is there anything you guys would like to say about anything coming up this week? We usually use this time to do a little plug time for whatever you're working on. I guess Aaron, you should go first. What are you working on this week? Anything exciting?
I'm going to do a little Ohio State preview. Actually, kind of dive into some specific positions and things like that.
So is that coming on Wednesday?
Friday.
Okay. So we'll have a nice little preview of the Ohio State University Buckeyes on Friday from Aaron McGee.
You know what I'm excited about?
He does that weekly. Go ahead, Damien.
You know what I'm excited about?
What are you excited about?
College football-wise. What do you think I'm excited about, Hayden? College football. What's the most exciting part about college football, other than the actual football?
Tailgating.
Oh.
No. The band.
The band.
I know, Jeff hates the band in uniforms, but there's nothing better about college football than the band, Script Ohio, and all the traditions that come with all of that stuff. Carry on.
100%. I'm first time I ever saw Script Ohio, I swear to God, I started tearing up.
Jizzing your pants?
No. You took that to
Joe quizzing his pants.
Thank you.
No, man, it was emotional.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Plug away.
Damien's feeling good from Sunday Fun Day over there. So
yeah.
Actually, this is my first beer in 3 hours.
After 23 at that point.
Probably. Feast of Assumption. I'm Catholic.
So you're bringing back the buzz that you had all day. So
I have to go to bed soon, so I'm hoping Hayden will get us out of here soon.
Yeah. So, Jeff, what are you working on this week? We've seen a lot of your good Pac-12 stuff. Give us some insight into what's going on with the. Are you still writing for the Cleveland Fan and for us?
Yeah, I will have a column for the Cleveland Fan on the Indians, especially that they're out west, so I'll be staying up to watch the games, until 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Actually, I won't be. I'll be in Ohio. I will have a column for the Cleveland Fan about the Indians. I don't know what yet. And we're going to be looking at the Pac-12 South next Saturday, and we'll be doing a program. And I'll be doing sportsbyline.com Sunday morning, 11:40 Eastern Time, 8:40 out west, CRN2 or sportsbyline.com.
Sportsbyline.com. Okay, so check out Jeff at sportsbyline.com and the Cleveland Fan, and of course here at morethanafan.net. And Damian, what are you working on this week besides your buzz?
Hayden, come on. Working on football and motorsports. That's kind of my thing now. And just to let everybody know, all the naysayers, I will not be here next Sunday, which means there will be a spot open on this wonderful podcast. So just get a hold of Hayden, H_Grove, and this will be a better podcast without me.
No, it won't, but hopefully...
Amen to that.
Aaron won't be here either, so...
Hopefully,
Not gonna lie.
hopefully
Or
I'll
Jeff.
be plugged in, so we'll be internet problem free. But that's it. We hope you enjoyed the podcast tonight. I think Damian's going to have to eventually click us out of here, but we appreciate you joining in, and hopefully we'll talk to you next Sunday.